Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back again with another commentary type video. I noticed that Obadiah's Judgement posted another video, The Mind of a Demon, Part 4. So I have a feeling that I'm involved in this in some way. And hashtag loser, hashtag slavery, hashtag heathen, hashtag bug out. So this hashtag game is still very, very strong. So I'll just play it, and then I didn't watch the entire thing, like half of it, so, you know, I guess there's some things that I can address, I guess, that might be, you know, edifying or interesting, I guess, but I feel like just kind of saying the same things over and over again, but just, again, to kill time. Let's hear what he has to say. Just check the volume.
All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakakadash, double honor to all the elders and apostles at GMS, the top of this truth. Peace and shalom to my fellow Akim, the top of this truth, and pushing the truth with the honesty and sincerity, shalom. And yeah, we back at it.
Here, just that statement alone, I just keep, it's just strange, you know, that's something that he would say, and that's the way it is in his life. I just find that odd with the amount of truth that's out there in different pockets. It's just strange that it's coming from one source, you know, like that. That's just unusual, you know, that somebody would make a statement like that, and it doesn't make sense, you know, just very practical. Like, there's no way, we know for a fact that GMS is not pushing all the different things that are true out there, and that's just obvious, you know. And so right away, whenever people make those kind of statements, we know that they're pushing some kind of cult, you know, and I call it a spiritual Ponzi scheme, which is what it is.
We, like I said earlier, we knew the fanboy and homosexual Bonte boy was going to keep on making videos, man. You know what I'm saying? And he did. He made another one. After, you know what I'm saying, I labeled the video as simple, you know.
So if that statement that you just made is not true, then you're breaking the law, right? And so you're in sin by making a statement like that. So just FYI.
Just leave me alone. I'll leave you alone, you know what I'm saying? But he wants all smoke, man, so fuck it, you know what I'm saying? Fuck him. We'll keep it pushing there, man, you know what I'm saying? You know, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? What did he say? I'm not about that life. We can take wherever you want to take it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, about that life, the law gives life, and you're not about that life. You're not about life. You're not about the law. You know, you just proven that in the first 52 seconds, lying about my sexual orientation. So that and many other things, the stuff that I accused Tahar and all those people of in this video that you have up of Revelation 11, and then things with prostitutes and adultery, it's come out of his own mouth. So it's not speculation, you know, or anything like that. The things I accuse End Times Teacher of, blaspheming the Holy Spirit, it's from his own mouth. And so you're in sin in the first minute.
We can take it wherever you want to take it, homeboy. And again, what he has to deal with is the total, because he molded this shit right over. The total hypocrisy of him using GMS breakdowns and then coming back and saying that these people are mad and they're out of their mind.
Those three woes in the Bible are really bad if you just keep reading through Revelation 11, because Tahar teaches that those three woes in the Bible are World War I, World War II, and World War III. And the problem is that Revelation 11:14 says the second woe is passive. Behold, the third woe come quickly. So where is the Second World War in all of this?
Yeah, and so being the demon and hypocrite and not understanding the scriptures, he actually used that breakdown.
And so the sequence can also be summarized by woes in the book of Revelation. The first woe has passed. It's World War I, World War II, and then the 9/11 false flag event.
The 9/11 false flag event with no scripture whatsoever behind that shit, man.
So just so people know, the way I interpret that, Revelation 9:11, literally that verse, is credit to Russian Vids, you know, and so it's something that he brings out quite often. And, you know, if you just read the verse, and then this is where, you know, you definitely need the Most High to interact with you to figure out the book of Revelation, because actually the later the second half of the book is actually much more clear than the first half. And so, because it's dealing about things that are setting the stage for this, deceptive age, Revelation 12, that we're living in now. And so it's a bit more confusing, the language and what it applies to. And then we have the problem of looking at all the resources in front of us, and they're just not true and they're not accurate. Like Wikipedia, it's not a good source for things like wars or even things like science, and gravity and all that kind of stuff. They're just all lies. We know that now, and so it's just not a good resource for trying to link up the Bible with history. And so we need God, to help us with this. But if you read literally the verse Revelation 9:11. This is, a verse that is very, very important. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. And so they had a king over them. This is a very, very important event. The 9/11 event is basically the beginning of this new world order. And so it's now kind of out really in the mainstream now that all the governments are aligned and they're preparing for this quote alien invasion. And so it's like a ceremony, it's like a ritual. And then Revelation 9:11 is that's why that it's written that way, and it's consistent with this new world order where there's no longer battles between God's left hand side in the world wars. Now that's essentially stopped, and now they're working together because they know that there's a bigger enemy at stake, and about to visit, and I believe relatively soon, and so very soon. And so that's where I get that breakdown from. And so it's not the world wars that are actually important in the Woe one. It's actually literally the 9/11 false flag event, because he doesn't understand. He still doesn't understand, but I see him, he's just an actor. Tahar is just an actor if he keeps talking like this. But all those wars and stuff, all these ball earthers who are like postulating the ball earth and gravity, like Copernicus and Newton, that's why, again, these people can't be flat earthers, because they don't understand that we know that they're all just actors. Like Trump is obviously an actor. Netanyahu and Ahmadinejad and all the different leaders of Modi and all that, Xi Jinping, or all these people, like they're all just actors. And so they're actors here, and we know that now. And so there would be infinitely more in the past leading up to this deceptive age, because they're all just like setting up lies, and like fighting and infighting, and it's just God's left hand side fighting against each other in World War I and World War II. So it's not relevant so much for woe number one, but all that lead up is in the book of Revelation. There are different references to the various woes, but to the various wars, sorry. But the woe number one is that 9/11 false flag event. And so that's what it is. And then right after Revelation 9:11, if you keep reading on in Revelation, if you just read a couple verses down. So Revelation 9:11 is the one that I just read. And then literally verse 12 is, one woe is past, and behold, there comes two more woes hereafter. So they're sequential for sure. And so we know that. The third woe is not actually explicitly said like that was the third woe, but it's implied because it's the wrath of God. And so the second woe is explicit in Revelation 11. And so I'm not sure how I'm stealing a breakdown. If there's anybody that gets credit, I guess, it's just Russian Vids, but he kind of points out something that I would assume that I would have figured out. Anyway, it's not really that big of a deal, but every time he does a 9/11 false flag video, he quotes that verse because he's into numerology just like me. Like Revelation 14:4, there's a reason why it's in that position in the Bible. And you look for the number 44 everywhere. I look for the number 33 everywhere, 66. Isaiah 66, for example. It's not a coincidence why that chapter is talking about destruction. It's everywhere. Like, I can't turn that off. I just literally see it everywhere. And so it's the same with that, and so that's why you need to know certain things that Russian Vids teaches. Not everything, obviously. I don't agree with it, but it's very, very important. That's why it's very important to know that the earth is flat, to interpret the Bible in certain places, but to also know what's going on in the world, that the lead up to the flat earth was age of deception. Just ball earthers running around, just, wars going on. They're just God's left-hand side, just fighting with each other. It's infighting, and they're just actors in these world wars. And so they're all like, it's fake beef. That's why I call it fake or stage beef, whatever you want to call it. So God's right-hand side's not getting killed in any of that. It's just no one cares what that is. That's, again, they're setting the stage because we live on a flat plane for this time, beginning in Revelation 9/11. And so that began the period of Revelation 12, this deceptive age that's been turned up, since then. And then now that it was actually if you ask a lot of people about them waking up to the truth, that event was the literal event where they're like, that was nonsense. Like what they're telling us, the narrative is, it's stupid. And so, I mean, I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. But after some number of years, I started getting into Alex Jones, Louis Farrakhan, Russian vids, and kind of in that sequence. And then, the Hebrews came along because of Louis Farrakhan, because I would watch a lot of Louis Farrakhan Nation of Islam videos, and then in the recommended it would show up the Hebrew Israelites, like Zabak and GMS and all that kind of stuff, because they would be the quote answer to who are the real Jews. Because Farrakhan would mostly just say the real Jews are not the Jewish people, and then he would kind of really get on them, but he never really clearly stated that the so-called Negroes are the real Jews. I'm sure he said it at some point in some of his videos, but that's not what his focus was. And so that was the answer for me, because naturally I'll be like, well, okay, I agree that they're definitely not the real Jews, the ones in Israel, the Jewish. And so that's credit to the Hebrews. That's that will not come from any other group except the Hebrew Israelites to proclaim that, and I testify that that's true. The spirit that's dealing with me is affirming that that is indeed the case, that Deuteronomy 28:68 absolutely happened, and it's being fulfilled right now, and it's being fulfilled in America by the transatlantic slave trade, for sure. And so that's for me as a fact. And so very, very important truth. So I have to give credit where credit is due, and that's a very potent truth, no doubt. And so the cool thing now is that it's just being reaffirmed on multiple levels too, because at that time I wasn't really deep into Mystery Babylon, Revelation 17 and 18. But now that anybody who has Revelation 17 and 18, just using common sense, knowing that Christ is dark skinned, we know who the Jews are, just by that. So you can get it in a lot of different ways. From Deuteronomy, you can get it from Revelation 17 and 18, all the verses that say that Christ has dark skin. So it's reaffirmed on many, many levels. And I love that about the Bible, that you can get the truth from just a bunch of different angles. And that's great. And so that's where I got that from. And so, he can obviously disagree, but I'm not using his breakdown at all, because I don't think Tahar, I've never heard anybody else say Revelation 9:11 is referring to the 9/11 false flag event. I haven't heard that. And so, except Russian vids. And so that's where I got it from, And so, again, I'm not trying to take away credit from Russian vids, because I give him a lot of credit for the stuff that he brings out, but I probably would have deduced that anyway, just because I'm very into numerology, again, from his channel and stuff. So it makes sense. That was a major, major change in the world. Not like it was a real thing, but just it was God was it was again like a ritual, that there's some deception, just about to come. And it's the same thing with this Corolla thing. It's the exact same thing. They do these kind of rituals on a mass scale, worldwide scale. And then, the face covering and all that kind of stuff. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. So that's like a ritual. This is a ritual that's going on for God's left-hand side. And they're trying to pull as many people into it. And so we're supposed to come out of her, my people. Don't be partakers of those sins, because those are sins. And so even if these people don't care about the law, which they obviously don't, that's what the Bible says. We're not supposed to do that, because it's a sin, because a wicked person is giving that instruction. And so if you go back to the garden, if a wicked entity is giving an instruction, are we supposed to listen to it? Just because everybody else is doing it or whatever, it's not a big deal. God won't care. That's what got us here into this position. So don't listen to these people. They don't care about the law at all. They're just actors. But so, that's, I'm not quite sure why he keeps saying that I took that from GMS, when it has no correlation to GMS at all, because I'm saying woe 1 is a specific event, and all the stuff leading up to that was verses that up to Revelation 9:11 can be summarized, and like that's where I will look for all the things that lead up to Revelation 9:11. I'll look in history, starting with 9/11 going backwards. And so it's a summary of all those things. The woe 1 though specifically is the 9/11 event. And so maybe it's just confusing the way I sort of group that together, I guess. But I think I said that it's even in the timeline that it's a summary of all the things in the past can get you an explanation for what's being described up to Revelation 9:11. And so that kind of thing. But on that day, that was Revelation 9:11 being fulfilled. And then in God's, theological timeline, eschatological timeline, that was the first woe, that thing that we saw on TV that was represented as like a real event. And so it makes sense, that's where I got that from. So I don't know if that helps clarify or whatever. He's very insecure, obviously. Like he's just really trying to push everybody back into his doctrine. And you can tell in his mind that he knows that they don't have anything, in terms of the sequence and have it all together clearly, because he's still trying to figure out what Revelation 11 means. But, so he's just still lobbying for people to come under this Ponzi scheme when I wouldn't ever come under. I wouldn't even go near these people. Like I obviously watch their videos and have in the past and learn from them, but they're just crazy. Like they're just not normal people. Like when you talk to them, they just get all antsy and crazy and call you homosexual and all that kind of stuff. They're just they're mentally retarded, and so that's not the way normal people interact when they have different opinions, and all that. Most High is going to put you to death and all that kind of stuff. There are other insecurities and evil spirits on them that is explaining, their behavior. So I would avoid them on many levels.
You know what I'm saying? But it's all good, man. It's coming to light who the Lord's chosen are and who's not, man. Okay? And this man is here for nothing for the short to be sorbent, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's an excellent point. That I'm glad he said that. Whatever I teach, whether it involves me or not, doesn't matter. Everything is going to be seen, like it's not going to be like a secret rapture in the sense that it's going to be hidden and like no one's going to really like know about it. Like Revelation 1:7, I called it a secret rapture just to kind of concede the fact that not many people would know about it, because it's for a very few number of people. It's not for like millions of people or anything. It's like 144,000 and some other number after that, men and women. But it's not like a large group of people. So it's a secret in that sense, but it's Revelation 1:7 that's being fulfilled. All eyes will see him, even those who pierced him. And so, it's like, it's going to be very obvious, like what he's saying, that who God's people are, and that's the nice thing about it. Like I can't weasel my way into that group or whatever, and he can't either. Like these things are already determined. So that's true, what he's saying.
That's all it is for. He's a spiritual punching bag, man. Getting beat the hell up. End Times teacher is wearing his ass out, and I'm wearing his ass out, and other people have been wearing his ass out.
I don't like that terminology. I think I know what you mean, like you're exhausting somebody or something. I just don't like that terminology. So I don't know if that's language you use or whatever. I would just avoid that if you can. That's weird. How can you guys be exhausting me when you believe in probably the worst doctrine ever, that is the non-virgin birth, which is blasphemy of the Holy Spirit? So I know that you guys are just actors. Like no person would read the Bible and ever come to that conclusion of the non-virgin birth. So you guys are just you're lost on the worst sin ever. And so there's 501c3 Christians that'll be better off than you in judgment. So don't think that people coming by here, a lot of us know that the virgin birth is true, and it's obvious. And so it's just like the flat stationary error. So you're coming here as people who have clearly insane number of spirits on you to tempt that doctrine and go to the other side of it and then deal with the consequences. And so you're just a walking zombie, literally slated for the worst kind of destruction and committing an unforgivable sin. So you're not in an envious position for the people that come by here at all.
Out, man. Okay, all he wants to do is push flat Earth doctrine, which he still hasn't produced a video of Yahushua preaching flat Earth. Not yet. You know what I'm saying? And he's not going to be.
This clown talks about regularly, a lot of the people at GMS, that, and this is correct, that Christ or Yahushua comes in the volume of the book. All of it's written for him, about him, and to learn about him, and to learn about his judgments, or the Most High's judgments. And so the contradictions are just crazy. And so eat the whole roll, and like come in the volume of the book and all these things. You got to like understand the whole Bible to understand the book of Revelation and to make sense of it and to piece it together. But they'll disregard hundreds of verses that talk about very, very clearly about the architecture of the earth that Yahweh and Yahushua made. So the contradictions are just spewing out one after the other. All they can do is lie. That's all they're programmed to do. That's all they're allowed to do and capable of.
He's not going to be able to do it. So for here, we will go to.
Just to clarify quickly on the three woes. So we established the woe, the first one, like I said in that video, is the 9/11 false flag event. And it's because it's Revelation 9/11. God makes that, kind of gives that to us for free. And, to make it clear, because it is very difficult to interpret some of the earlier chapters in Revelation, like where we are in human history. And the second woe is not a war. And so I definitely didn't steal that from anybody, because there's nothing to steal. It's in Revelation 11. So it's just not a war at all. It's just it's in that time period, right after the two witnesses are killed. And so, and the third woe is not World War III, because there is no real World War III. It's a battle against God, which has begun in Revelation 9/11 and September, 9/11. And so that's what's starting, and so everybody, all the leaders on earth now are all on the same team, and we know that officially now because the earth is flat and stationary, but you could figure that out even just through the financial system and all that kind of stuff, that they're not really beefing. They're all meeting every year and multiple times a year at different meetings and stuff. So they're, again, all on the same team. So there is no, the conflict is just for show. Like, it's on TV. And if there is some amount of squabbling between nations and stuff, it's all God's left-hand side. God's definitely not their elect. God's elect are getting killed and any of that kind of stuff, because then how could they be saved? And so all those people are just actors. And so this, again, is why these people can't be flat earthers, because you get that for free. And so they're just actors, and all they're allowed to do is read from CNN and Fox News and stuff that into the Bible, but it doesn't fit. It's like putting a square peg in a circular hole. It's just not working, and he knows that, and then so now he's getting in his feelings.
We'll start at the Ecclesiastes.
So the first woe is the 9/11 event. The second woe is Revelation 11, and the third woe is the battle against all the nations on earth against God. And so they'll all have the mark of the beast at that time.
So Ecclesiastes 1 and 29. Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. And he's not taking heed of what he speaks, all right, because he's all over the place. So he's saying I'm all over the place, but he also knows, I think now he's looked at some of my videos to know that my breakdown of Revelation 11, in particular stuff starting with, or my breakdown of Revelation and then starting with the Revelation 11 is solid, because that kernel, that template exists everywhere in the Bible. It's very, very clear, and it's amazing. And End Times teacher asked me, what do you learn by reading the whole Bible beginning to end? Is that it's internally consistent, and that's amazing. And so the cool thing about my breakdown, my understanding, in particular about the two witnesses and how that Revelation 11 ties with Acts 1:10, that event has to be soon. So he's right in the sense that it's, I can't fake this, I'm not going to push this stuff and wait for this for 10 years or anything like that. There's no way, again, a lot of us know that we're in hell. So just that truth alone, how long can a person wait if God tells you you're in hell? What does God think, that we're stupid and we're just yeah, okay, well, I'm going to try and, climb up the corporate ladder, and start a family and all that. Would a smart person do that if God tells them that you're in hell? God will be you're an idiot. And so if somebody tells you that, and I would say this being hell is, again, I've said this, more obvious than the flatness of the earth. The stationariness of the earth is clearly obvious in the Bible, everywhere. But the flatness is implied, and then, explicitly stated in
different, translation, different version. But this realm being hell, this physical earth being hell, is obvious. Every single verse supports that. 55 verses. So that, I mean, how can God tell not just me but lots of people that, and then just not show up ever? Like, does that make any sense? Like, your parents call you, yeah, that home that you just moved into, or that dorm in college, yeah, it's filled with like pedophiles, and like rapists and perverts and stuff. But yeah, just look out for them. Click. Does that make sense? Like, would any earthly parent do that? They'll get in their car, drive through the speed limit. They'll take a helicopter, go and like airlift the kid out of there, and all that kind of stuff. And then the Bible says that if our parents can give good gifts to their kids, how much more would God give good gifts to his children? So, like, use your brain, dude. Think about this, man. Like, these things are not far away. Like, if the Bible's true, and I have to have faith in that, because I don't know. Like, I haven't had some kind of magical out of body experience like some of the great men and women of the faith have had. But so I'm just basing on what I was taught on January 1st, 2020, and piece it together. And so I'm open to criticism and all that, but I haven't heard any good feedback except you stole a breakdown, which I didn't actually. And like, even if I did, I would give credit to him. I'm not saying that Tahara's all lies. That's crazy. Of course not. Like I said, that I found out that the so-called Negroes are the biblical Jews through the Hebrews. Like, again, I focused on Zabak at the beginning, but I watched all of them. Like, I literally did not stop watching. Like, I kind of made the GMS Houston camp leader once weirded out, because I was telling him about a video I watched like 7 years ago, and he's like, where they're sitting at the picnic tables and stuff. Like, I watch all of them, and that's just my personality. When I want to know something, I devour everything, like, not just with like spirituality and religion, but like any topic. I just read it, and I get obsessed about it. And I think a lot of us in the quote truth, we have an obsessive personality, but about Christ or Yahushua. And so, I'm not saying that to boast, that's just the way it is, but yeah, I watched a lot of videos and I learned a lot. I would say the most valuable thing, and I give a lot of credit to GMS above all the other camps, is that they're the most disgusted by this world. And that is the one aspect that I'll always, quote, connect with them the best. And I've drawn more to their camps than the other ones that I don't really ever approach. And so I'll forever give them that credit. And I think I've said that at least like many times, on different videos that I posted. Can't remember which one, but that's a fact. And that's the way it should be, because like I said, we're in hell. So if anybody's teaching the Bible, not just GMS, but any group is teaching the Bible and trying to like say like everything's fine, no big deal. Like, the aspect that I do respect Tahar in this one small aspect is that he's very like urgent, like he really wants whatever he's teaching to happen, and like chaos just so we can get out of here, and all that. So it's not all scoffing, I just, the reason it's difficult now is we're getting to the specifics, and I think that you're getting into this as well, Obadiah, and I think that you should, and end time teacher, whoever. We're in a time now where God can work with us and tell us specifically, not the exact day, but we know like things are going to start being literal, like that. Revelation 11 means that, and then 16 means that, and then it's going to be like that. How can the Bible hide itself anymore at this point with mark of the beast clearly like like right in front of us? The famines, end times teacher does well putting videos on that's right in front of us. So how much more mysterious can 11, 16, 17, 18, how much more mysterious could that be at this point? Like, we see videos all the time of like the other countries getting irritated at America. So again, the Bible is like literally just pushing itself into our face, telling it as true. So you can disagree with the specifics, that's fine. But I'm not going to kiss the ring at this stage with anybody if they're not speaking from the book, and correlating that with the real world and what's going on. So, because again, we're in those times where we can get real precise, and so Revelation 11 is not symbolic. I'm just telling you that as a person you don't know, but know that. That's a fact. It's not at all. I don't know what spirit is telling you that. It's not. It's literal and sequential, what it is, and it has not happened yet.
Or in whoever else uses the the two witnesses breakdown, or the first woe and the second woe, they're completely mad and the same. But you were using the same damn breakdown. So where did you get that breakdown?
It's not the same one. I don't know if you're just doing this because you're genuinely think that I believe that the World War I is Woe 1, but I just told you, or in that chart, you can see it's officially the 9/11 event. You know, that's the Woe 1 that I put like collectively. I think maybe the diagram is misleading. I sure just pointed the Woe 1 to that 9/11 event. All the stuff prior, World War I and World War II, is needed to decode some of the earlier stuff, earlier chapters. But it's just, again, to label them in terms of like time periods. And so that's why I did it. And so I'm not sure if you're actually being sincere or you just want me to give you credit or Tahar credit for that. But again, none of the woes that I teach are what is taught with GMS. I don't teach Woe 1 is World War I. I don't teach Woe 1 is Woe 2 is World War II. And I don't teach that Woe 3 is World War III. You know, it's not a world war. It's a space war. And so you guys teach this. So I don't know what you're getting at, dude. Like, again, I'm not trying to, I'll give anybody credit where credit is due. I'm not getting any like trophies for for this, for like pretending like I came up with this, dude. Like I don't, before January 1st, I would have probably gone with that interpretation of Revelation 11. I'll be like, I don't know any better one than what I've heard from the Hebrew group, the most scholarly group about Revelation. But that's not, don't give yourself too much credit, because there's all the other people doing it are stupid. And so, you know, just I'm saying that it's okay if you or anybody wants to come out and get more advanced and deep into that with what we see going on in the world now, you know, with Corolla and everything. And so, you know, yeah, I mean, that's why that day was very important. Again, if it doesn't happen, and definitely doesn't happen soon, then I'm wrong. You know, that's fine. You know, and then I'll admit that. You know, that's totally fine. Like you said earlier, we're gonna see these things. You know, it's like it's not gonna be mysterious. You know, like who God's people are, and if I'm not, you know, that's just what it is.
Now, you got it from Tahar. You got it from the men of GMS. All right.
Let's just say that that's true, that I did get something, and I can't think of anything right now except for what I said. You know, that the so-called Negroes are the biblical Jews, which I got from the Hebrew Israelite groups. Where did Tahar or Zabak, or where did they get that from? Like, where did it go? Like, you have to, if you believe that that's true, then, or various things that are true, then God would have done that. So we should always give credit to God anyway. So I don't know why you're too, you're trying to force people, not me, because I'll never, you guys are lost because you teach the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. But I know I don't know if you know that you're doing this. You're trying to like get people into your cult, basically, and all that kind of stuff, and like kiss the ring and all that kind of stuff. But we know that you and an end times teacher and other people are just not intelligent, because again, you're ball earthers. And then even if you are flat earthers, you'll just say it's not important, which is like, you literally, like, no normal functioning person would ever say that. Like, that's completely stupid. And so that doesn't make sense. You have to be insensitive and retarded to make a statement like that.
And then went back and changed.
The irony is that this is, again, why your brain has been so destroyed. All the things that you want everybody else to feel responsible for, you know, the enslavement, which is brutal. Trust me, I've seen enough videos to know that I'm not trying to trivialize this, but that can only be accomplished with atheism ruling the world. And so you are a disgusting person because you don't acknowledge that spinning ball earth played a big part in the destruction of your people. And you bring out verses all the time that what has caused the destruction of the so-called Negroes, the Israelites in this enslavement age, is a lack of knowledge. And so the Bible even says, your people are destroyed by a lack of knowledge. And you, as a disgusting person that you are, don't think that piece of information is important to remove all the evil and the enslavement in the world right now. That means that you're a disgusting person. I'll continue to call you that regularly.
Okay, what a hypocrite, man. All right, didn't want to have no answer for us.
That was perfect. Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. So this idiot thinks that it doesn't matter what the shape of the earth is, when the reality is, once you know what it actually is, then you can take the Bible and know that it's true. And literally, it just unlocks so many truths, so many beautiful truths. So this person, literally every time he fires up a video, he's just condemning himself, you know. And so he started off the video sinning, making accusations of other people that are not true. So he's in sin right now, and it's just multiplying. This is incredible.
So as to why he was using a GMS breakdown, man. Okay, there's been many breakdowns from GMS that this man has used. You know?
Show me one. Show me another one, and then maybe we can have something in common and see where that goes. But show me one. Revelation 11. Show me another person anywhere on the internet. I'm not saying this to brag. I'd actually genuinely want to know, because I want to talk to them and find out when they found that out. But show me anyone who has linked Acts 1:10 and Revelation 11. Show me anybody. Definitely not in GMS, because you idiots think that you are. And so that's not happening. And show me one person, or group. And then you would be doing me a favor, because I want to go and find out, when did you figure that out? And that kind of thing, because that's true. I'm certain of that. Again, the only way I can prove that is if I see it and then everybody sees it. But that had to have come from God, if that's true.
You know what I'm saying? So
and without that fact, the whole book of Revelation will not make sense. And so if that's just doing the counter case, if that's not true, then everything is wrong. So my whole channel is just a waste. If that linking is not true, Acts 1:10 and Revelation 11, if that is not the case, and in fact the two witnesses are a group, or the Left Behind Saints, which I've heard from these, like this rapture puzzle, these retards, or something else other than just two people, and I would go even further that I know that it's Moses and Elijah, then the whole thing falls apart. So it doesn't even matter what my woes are and like my timeline and all those files and all that, just garbage, like literally just vomit on the internet. So I would just destroy them immediately. I couldn't even delete them fast enough. But all I can do now is put it out there and see if other people have God telling them that same thing or can accept it. And then we have to wait and see, And so if that doesn't happen, then it's all wrong, and I'll admit it freely. But, and like I've said, I'm not waiting like decades or anything like that. And it can't, because in my explanation is that the two witnesses then start implementing the plagues in Revelation 16. So just looking at the world right now, how much more can America handle with just how much in the situation that we're in right now with the unemployment and all that kind of stuff? Vaccine, maybe this year, maybe next year. They don't even care. There's like whatever, all the unemployed, evict all the people. And with this election selection coming up and all that, and BLM and all that, like it's like bubbling. And so then Revelation makes an audacious claim that there's going to be even more plagues on that. Sores, water turning to blood, getting scorched by the sun, a power outage, and then that's just more stuff that God's going to dump on. And we all know that that's not happened yet. I think we would all agree with that, Revelation 16. And so that's coming as well, and then that's happening in America. It's specifically written in Revelation 16 that the power outage is for America. And so, it can't be that far away for my interpretation to be like real in real life, because America is fallen, and it's not going to decelerate. Like, it's just going to keep getting worse.
It's comical. It's very comical. And when you go into his video with End Time Teacher, he's talking about a secret rapture. And
I call it a secret just because it's a unique rapture, and it's a secret in the sense that it's not for it's not the entire Christian church. It's not Tahar or anything like that. That's crazy. It's the 144 taken away, and then the two witnesses here. It's an exchange, just like Acts 1:10. It's the same thing. Christ appearing. In that case, Christ left, but in this case, he's returning. And then there'll be the disciples are here on earth in the reincarnation, and then they're going to see two men here, when Christ is returning. And so those two men are the two witnesses in Revelation 11. And so that's the whole rapture. The 144 are taken out. And so that's what I teach. And so, that's why it's a code secret, just because it's not for very, very many people. It's for a very, very elect, literally, group. And so I just use that term to distinguish between, what other people will teach, that there's only one return of Christ. And so, if you don't accept Acts 1:10 as being literal and the reciprocal, then there is only one return coming, in the future. And so that's the second one, and so Sorry, that's the first one for me. And then the second one is when Christ returns. After his elect are taken away, they return here on earth to execute all the judgment and destruction and cleanup, essentially, and all that kind of stuff. And so, and everybody will have the mark of the beast, because that will be accomplished in that 1260 days. And so if you look at the first plague in Revelation 16, it involves the mark of the beast. And so, so that taking away is going to be the thing that spooks the world into getting people to take the chip or the something in the hand, whatever the etching is. So that's makes sense. You know, that's a very, very important event. All eyes will see him. It's going to be worldwide. And, you know, that's going to basically scare everybody into obeying the government, you know, and then there'll be another group who won't fall for that. And that's the mixed multitude. And they're going to give up their life for their faith. And then they're given white robes. And then that's the group. And they're going to be in all nations as well, just like the elect are in all nations. And so that's the deal.
All this other man is like, well, how's it a secret if like you have the break?
It's a secret to you because it won't make sense to you, because you think that Acts 1:10 is not literal, and you think the two witnesses are here. So there's no need for Christ to return and have that reciprocal event, you know, occur in your theology or GMS's theology. So again, we have to agree to disagree, because I'm definitely not changing my position, and I don't think you are, and I don't think you can actually. So that's what it is. You know, that's what it is. And like I said, that event has to happen soon, because if you also study Revelation 18:4, it says, "Come out of her, my people. Don't be partakers of her sins, and then you won't receive of her plagues." And then if you read what the plagues are, it's death, mourning, and famine, and she should be utterly burned with fire. So there's a group again described there in America, because that's what Revelation 17 and 18 refer to, that are taken away before the plagues. So if there's ever any of those plagues, death, mourning, and famine, that hit here in America, and there's no sign of Christ in the sky, then my theology, my breakdowns are all wrong as well. And so this quote pre-plague rapture is supported as well in Revelation 18. This quote secret rapture. So Acts 1:10 and Revelation 11 are linked, explaining that it's to bring the two witnesses here, and then it also has to be during a calm time. That's why Yahushua or Christ says that when he returns, it's going to seem like everything's normal. You know, people are going to be giving into marriage here in America. Everything's going to be hunky-dory. There's going to be no famines yet, no like major sort of, you know, burning or like any kind of excessive chaos and all that. People are going to think like this is going to just keep going. And so that's why you guys are peddling lies, because you teach that there's going to be a whole bunch of chaos and wars and all that, then Christ will return, but that's against the Bible. So you're pushing in a sequence that's antichrist. So good luck.
Then he's been shaved his face and all this other shit, man. Just a complete demon, man. A complete demon and a complete bug out, man. And we, after me hearing him waffle on the whole end times, the end times sequence that he keeps going over, I just knew that we just can't take him. We can't take him.
Let's hear your sequence then. You know, you're the chosen. You got all the years of history of Tahar and been doing this for years and years and all that, 30 some years on the street. Like he's probably read the Revelation probably who knows how many times. Who knows, literally maybe 300 times. And so this should be a joke, dude. Like you should literally have not just one video, but like a playlist of just all these people explaining the sequence like hundreds of times over at this point. But it's like pulling teeth getting it from you. And End Times Teacher says he might do it. And I know why you guys can't do it, because you don't have it. You don't, because you won't be able to piece it together. It just won't make sense, because again, you think you're the two witnesses. And so that's going to cause a lot of issues in terms of how to interpret the Bible, because you're going to then have to read Revelation 11 and think that that's the second woe, and then think that that is referring to something in the like way in the past, like World War II, I guess. And so how does that make sense? Like, it's going to screw up everything. And then people are sending gifts to one another and all that. Like, where is that happening? You know, and then their dead bodies will lie in the streets and everybody will see them. That can only happen when there's a telecommunications infrastructure. So like, you know, images and video can be seen around the world instantly. That's now. That's only can happen now. And so everything's just all screwed up. So you're making fun of my breakdown using Amazon, an example, but God made all these companies. What do you think? Amazon's not in the Bible? The guy is like the richest man in the world or whatever. Like, you don't think that God made him rich to do a particular task? And one of the jobs that he will have is to fulfill Revelation 11, create an infrastructure worldwide where people can send packages to one another so they can cheer against the fact that they've killed two of God's most precious spirits. Are you out of your mind, dude? You take all the CNN, Fox News, but you don't think that Amazon has a part in the end times? It's like a massive company, has influence in the entire world. Are you out of your mind, dude?
I'm serious. So right here we'll go to what is it? His last video, and he's left links to my channel and all this other shit, man. This dude is
yeah, dude. You're a subsidiary channel of the Mind of God now because you keep doing videos of me and you put my face there so people know kind of where to find me, and then when you put up my channel, they know what you're referring to, which is good. And then it's like free advertisement, so appreciate it.
Completely obsessed a fanboy, man. So right here. Where is this?
I'll give you this amount of credit. Obadiah's Judgement, GMS, End Times Teacher. You're of a few select group of people on this flat earth that read Revelation, from beginning to end, and then probably the whole Bible. And so there's not many people, and so that's why I'm interacting with you, and others like GMS and the Hebrews and all that, because there's nobody else to bounce ideas off of. And so I'll give you that amount, of credit. So that's why.
Let me see here.
Dude, why aren't you subscribed to my channel, man? Just hit that subscribe button. Join the family.
I think it was on this one right here.
A really, really big deal. And,
Yeah, shut up. We don't want to hear you. You're not talking about shit.
If I'm not, let's just say what you just said is true and you genuinely believe that. Does that make sense that you would do this many commentary videos and even literally spend a second reviewing somebody's thing that immediately there was a flaw and you're like, no, I'll dismiss it? If you knew Revelation 11, 16, or just your whole breakdown of the sequence in the end times, you would be able to look at something else and be like, okay, that's a mistake, move next, and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that you're letting this sort of simmer, I know that that your breakdowns are stupid, and so you're looking, for answers. And I give you credit if you're doing that sort of behind the scenes, because if the Bible is true, that's the way it's going to go down, that I've taught from this point going forward. It's just the way it is. There's just no way that that's not true with all the things that we know. So any insult or whatever that you say is not going to change the fact that breakdown, that understanding of not just Revelation, but how that correlates with the entire Bible is the way it is. So if the Bible is true and we're living in the end times, that's the way it's going to go down.
Let me see here. Yeah, some guy came asking, what are your thoughts on the third temple? And his reply.
Shout out Flat Earth Boxer, man. He's pushing the flat earth, and he strikes me as a sincere person. So shout out FEB.
I was never heard of it. I'm basically only interested in the fulfillment of Revelation 11 these days and golf. Yeah, that's all I can talk about is Revelation's the 11th chapter.
Correct, because that's what I'm waiting for. That's where that's the cool $1 million question. That's the foundation of everything that I teach, because if that connection between Acts 1:10 and Revelation 11 did not come from God for me to push truth, but it came from God to deceive, then I'm out. I'm out of the Bible. I'll take my place in just a vapor in human history, just some idiot who started off in the 501c3 Christian church, got duped, came back to the Bible with flat stationary earth, locked and loaded, excited that God exists, and then read the Bible literally, using all the different resources that are out there for people who are teaching it, and then claimed to have this revelation on January 1st, 2020. And so, yeah, I mean, if it doesn't happen, and for me, it doesn't happen relatively soon, because again, with what's going on in America and just what's going on in my own life and just how things are accelerating, then that's all I'm looking forward to, And so if somebody literally were to tell me now, first of all, the Bible's not true, or your Revelation 11 breakdown is not true, then I would literally just delete my page immediately, quickly. Post an apology video to everybody, and then just delete it. And I couldn't apologize to GMS, for example, because I don't know that doesn't necessarily mean that they're right, but Anybody who like came to my, channel thinking that anything that I say was like potentially true, then I would be apologetic because I clearly misled them and they should have been looking for truth somewhere else. But again, everything that I teach, I would say, is actually fairly obvious if the Bible is true. The only question now is if the Bible is true, and we're all waiting. All of it, literally all of us, all eyes will see him, all those who pierced him. And so once that happens, the Bible's true. Even if I'm not taken away, that's fine. That's not up to me. I can't, jump up that high to get up or whatever. But I'm out that day. I know that the God of the Bible exists, and then that thing is just not for me, and that's fine. But I'm not hanging around here because I know then that there's only 1,260 days left until it gets real crazy. And so, if it's not crazy enough right now, and so, yeah, that's literally all I'm looking for. And the only thing that could kind of day to day keeps me sane is like playing golf, and that kind of thing. So. I don't know what your issue with that is. That's what I would say anybody should do is like whatever the next thing. That's why you guys need to present your sequence so I can challenge it, or like what are you waiting for? What's the next thing that you put your life behind that's what has to happen, or else all the things that you teach are completely false. You guys are just cowards, and it's not just you're cowards, you just don't know, and so that's why you're not able to teach it. But I'm still waiting for you or End Times Teacher or both of you to present your timeline, which is non-existent, of course.
But the breakdown.
For others out there, just know that this is exactly what we experience with the Ball Earth people, is that we ask them questions, but they'll never actually teach us anything. They'll just wait for us to say something and be like, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Bending of space-time, all this like nonsense. And so it's the same with them. They'll never present their timeline. They'll just be able to look at other people's things and be like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And that's why they only can, at this point, sort of cherry pick verses and stuff. And so that's all they can do, like there's no reason for him to get into any of this. It's just say, that's all garbage. This is what it really is. This chapter, then this chapter, then this chapter. And then these are the reasons why this is the way it is. And then this links up with all these other books, and it's like done deal. This should be a joke for people who've been involved in this 30 years. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but that stuff that came to me on January 1st, I figured that out. And I confirmed it with the whole Bible, which took about a month or so, but I pieced all that together in Revelation in like a few days or something. Like, again, it's not that deep because like the book of Revelation is not really that long actually. And then the good chunk of the beginning, like I said, is setting up the scene. And so the real quote action starts at Revelation 11, and then Revelation 11, 13, and 16 are all in the same time period, 1,260 days of great tribulation. And then, like I said, 7, 14, and 21 are kind of summary chapters. And then after that, it's 17 and 18, where America is judged and destroyed. And then it's this, invader coming back with his elect. And then it's just everything's just getting destroyed and all that. So, it's not actually that complicated. And so the fact that you're not able to bring it out and just make it plain to us is telling.
We don't know which breakdown he's using exactly. Is it the one that you're?
I'll be totally honest, I've never heard a breakdown of Revelation 16, I don't think from anybody actually. And so I've heard End Times Teacher recently just read it, but I explained to people that I've gone through that like those things are going to happen, but then God's left-hand side will like make up a story for each of those plagues. Like they're going to say like the sores are like from maybe the corona vaccine or something, and then the sun intensifying will be like they had a heat wave or global warming and all that. And then the power outage will be like Russia hacked the grid or something like that. So God's left-hand side will use the propaganda media to like make up a story for all that kind of stuff. And then they'll vilify the two witnesses and all that. So I could literally see that play out. So why don't you guys do that? Let's hear it.
Originally stole from GMS or Jahar, if you will, or is it this, what is it? You know what I'm saying? What are the three woes, man? All right, because the first...
I just told you, the first woe is the 9/11 event. That's like a ceremony on a worldwide scale that all the nations are aligned, because obviously Saudi Arabia or whatever didn't do that. So like they know that that's not really the narrative. And so they didn't seem to say anything when they were accused of it. So it's a ritual. And then a lot of people figured it out earlier, and then some people came to it later. But it's just a signal to the world that they're all aligned and they're all ready. And then all this stuff in the Space Force or whatever in the last couple of years is just further letting us know that the real battle is up, not around.
It was World War I and World War II. Now it's the two witnesses on the earth. And
dude, you sound like you're drunk. Like you just sound like stupid. Like, I don't know if you're, and I'm not trying to be rude, I don't know if you're actually like dumb or you're like just kind of trolling and just like trying to like get a back and forth, which is fine because like, again, it helps me kill time. But I don't know if your brain is able to actually like process that timeline. Like, End Times Teacher, that's why I have a bit more respect for him. First of all, he's a flat earther, so I have more respect for him on that regard. But he didn't comment on a single one of those videos. Not even one. He didn't even know that I had it, which he obviously does because he watches most of my videos. But he didn't watch the 90-minute breakdown of all the things. And then he didn't watch any of those, all those ones where I went into Ezra and Zechariah and all that, Daniel and all that. He didn't comment once. And so he knows better to not do that. And so, again, I'm not quite sure if you're genuinely not understanding my position or you're just trolling. So clarify, I guess, if you want.
All other kind of crazy shit, man. All right. And this is
crazy shit for these people is like actually explaining what the Bible says and being like, this is the way it will look. You know, this is what Revelation 11 will look like. There'll be two dark-skinned men, Moses and Elijah, dressed in sackcloth. Literal, two men. You can go up to them and talk to them. They'll be humans. And then they'll be dressed in sackcloth like the Bible says, and they're going to be implementing the plagues in Revelation 16, and then the world's going to hate them. And so they're going to go up to them, and anybody who tries to hurt them during that time period, they're going to die in that same way that they tried to do to them. They're going to have power, you know, during that time, but at the end, they're going to be killed, you know, like, and then they'll be taken away after their dead bodies lie there for 3.5 days. And so it mirrors really what happened to Christ. It's the same thing. God does the same thing kind of over and over again using different characters. And so that's literal. I believe that, you know, I can't like, it's outlandish to me because like I didn't come up with this movie. Like it can end in whatever way that God wants, but that's what the Bible says is going to happen, you know. And then if that is true, then to me it has to happen soon because America is like running on fumes. And so that to me is literal. I read the Bible very, very literally. And so it's exciting because, I mean, if it's literally true, then we're all going to see this kind of stuff soon, which is incredible that we live in those days. It's amazing.
Galatians 6 and 3. Galatians 6 and 3. For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. And this guy has deceived himself big time.
I'm not deceived yet. A fair statement, you know, Galatians 6:3. I hope interesting about the terminology or the numerology. 6:3 and 3:6. You can read them backwards. Is 666. And so, yeah, for if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceives. Yeah, absolutely. We're only required to measure our worth by the amount of faith God gives us. And so this whole, everything that I teach on my channel is only worth something. Ultimately, God is doing all this if it comes true. If it's not true, then not just this, my entire life was a waste. Like, not just this resurgence and interest in the Bible in these last 3 or 4 years, but through Flat Stationary Earth predominantly, but all my time in 501c3 Christianity since I was like 18 years old, I started reading the Bible. So literally from that day forward, like 20 some years was just on and off, just like a waste. Like all those times that I went in Bible study, I'm not trying to get pity, I'm just explaining this is the way it would be. We're just a waste. I could have just gone and played golf or, you know, just did anything else. But it was just, all of it was a waste. And so that's why, like you read in that comment from Flat Earth Boxer, I only care about Revelation 11. That's why I keep nitpicking you about that, because I haven't heard another intelligent breakdown except for mine. And so I'm curious, you know, I'm humble in the sense that, I don't know, if somebody has a better one or something that is tied to even more verses in the Bible and stuff, I'll be like, okay, well, that sounds good. But I haven't heard a peep from you or anybody. And so I take Acts 1:10 literally, and I'm confident in that, very, very confident. But that confidence means nothing unless it actually happens. And if it doesn't happen, then you're absolutely correct that I not only deceived myself, I've then gone and deceived other people, and I would be very, very embarrassed about that.
He thinks the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is dealing with him. All right, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua gave him the breakdown of Revelations, the 11th chapter, but you...
If it comes true, correct. It would have to have come from him. Where? Like, I don't know, that day I just like, you know, like had a hallucination or whatever. Like, where else would it have come from? You know, like it had to have come from God. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm involved in that transaction on that Acts 1:10. But yeah, I mean, where else would it have come from? And why would it be timed like that? Why did it come on that day? You know, why did I not have any idea about Revelation 11 beforehand and 16 or any of the sequence. I had no idea. I just read it and I was like, honestly, I just focused on the mark of the beast. If you look at pretty much all my videos prior to that day, it was more like on the generic, Bible, like lessons on like how to live by it and all that. It was very good for me to do that in my live streams. But mark of the beast, because it was like, sort of understood that that's happening. But from that day forward, literally everything changed. I had the sequence, I had the template, and then I found it everywhere in the Bible. So, it's just wait and see.
You used a different breakdown in it. So, which one did he give you? Did he give you the one that Tahar gave you, or did he give you some other kind of magical, mystical?
Tahar and you guys, we know that you're just actors. You're not allowed to talk about like false flag type events. You guys think that Pulse nightclub and all that was like a real thing. So like, you guys don't really speak up about all that kind of stuff. So we get that information from Russian vids and that kind of thing. So, I pieced it together with mostly Russian vids. Well, it started actually with Louis Farrakhan about the UFOs. And so I can't give GMS credit for that, even though I know you guys teach that and recognize that any of those, quote, objects are from God and the angels. But Louis Farrakhan mentioned that a lot, and he claims to have had UFO. I can't verify that they're true, but he's claimed to have had UFO encounters. But and then the Synagogue of Satan came from him, because he's like, they literally write books on it. And so, like it started with him, then the Hebrews, and then Russian vids with all the flat Earth, and then the numerology and all that. Which the numerology has also helped me to know that the Bible's true, because the Bible's littered with numerology. Just here, even in Galatians 6:3, like there's just so many like numbers that like pop out to me that to me it's like, how could that be just a coincidence? Like how can somebody just all these, everybody claims the Bible's tampered with and all that. Really? Well, how is there numerology in every single chapter that's just like not obvious, like that or not, like could never be a coincidence that all that stuff kind of fit together. It's like 66 usually refers to destruction, and then like 33 will refer to like, structures here on earth about like, governments and, like judges and all that kind of stuff. Like it's everywhere, and I try to point it out every time I see it, but it's just so much I can't even do it because it's literally everywhere. And so that kind of thing. So whatever, man, if you really want the credit for World 1, I'll give that to you. But just to be clear, it's 9/11 event. And so whatever, if you want that, just have it, dude. It doesn't make a difference. Like if this thing happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Breakdown. All right. And like you just listen to his doctrine.
But I do believe strongly it's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. It has to, because America's crumbling right before our eyes.
All over the place. It has more holes than Swiss cheese. Here he's saying that in one video he's saying that End Times teacher was saying that what about Jeremiah the 16th chapter? And he's like, it's already happened. It's already happened. So again, when I bring out Jeremiah the 16th chapter, he said I'm making this point. But you said everyone on the world is going to be eliminated on the Lord's left-hand side. So where are the slaves coming from?
I don't think you watch my video, or maybe your brain is not working, but you don't understand that those verses that you guys are talking about where the elect are doing things in a destructive way, it's here on earth. So your brain cannot function, or you're just being a troll or just stupid. But those things that the elect are doing to harm people physically is here on earth. And so I don't know if you understand that, like, again, the main difference is not those verses. It's actually Acts 1:10, because that's when the elect are taken away and they return here on earth during, this pre-kingdom time. Like I think I saw in one of your other videos, you're like, the elect are going to return, but it's during the kingdom of heaven. And so that's our difference. I don't think your brain is like functioning, dude. Like that return in my sequence is here on earth, but before the kingdom is established. At the end of that 1260-day period, you can set your watch to it. If Acts 1:10 is literal and there are two men standing here in America prophesying, 1260 days later, there's going to be another appearance. But this time it's going to be Christ with his elect. And then they're definitely not going to be in a friendly mood at that point. The first time it's a bit of a visitation, where Ezra says the Most High is going to visit the world that he's made. The next one, he's destroying. The first one is a visit, really, to take the elect away and put the two witnesses here. That only when he returns 1260 days later is there all that destruction. Heathens destroyed and all that stuff that talks about people getting beat and all that kind of stuff, killed and all that. Everybody on the earth will have the mark of the beast except the remnant who God will protect. And so, because they live in that region. And so, and Revelation 16 talks about the Euphrates, which is necessary for the remnant as well, to make their journey back. And so that's the difference. You believe all those verses are going to be fulfilled in the kingdom, and so that's, again, you have to disagree. We have to agree to disagree, but the main sticking point is actually when the elect are taken away and when they return. You believe that they're going to return when the kingdom of heaven is established, and I teach that it's at the end of the 1260-day period of the two witnesses.
If the Lord is going to eliminate everyone on the left-hand side, how are there going to be slaves in the kingdom?
So I hope I answered your question. I hope you're not dumb enough, like you're too stupid to like not understand our differences. And so just know that that's your position and this is mine. And so again, the only way to confirm which one is right is we have to wait and see what happens. And so I hope this has clarified it for you. Like, I don't know if you're actually stupid or you're just trolling.
Like, he can't answer that. Scripturally, he can't answer that. Now, he can sit and talk out his ass all day. He's mastered that. Okay? Yeah, he has a degree and can sit there and just...
The least in the kingdom is going to be greater than John the Baptist. And the Bible says that no fornicator, no adulterer, no liar and all that will inherit the kingdom. And so it's a very, very select group of people that are getting in there. So your whole theology is just trash. Like, I could debunk it like in thousands of different ways, but keep on keeping on, man. We'll see what happens.
Spewing shit out of his mouth, but when it comes to the scriptures, nah, bro, he ain't got it.
All right, man, you got the sauce, right? You got the oil, so we'll see. I'm not going to convince you of it. I don't want to, because actually interacting with you is actually kind of strange, and I don't like the stuff that you talk about a man's appearance. So I'm strictly doing this to kill time and maybe clarify some things to other people, but so they know what the GMS position is, which we actually don't have any clarity yet on it, and then mine, and then how different they are.
He ain't got it. And did I get that? Yeah. This is 2 Timothy's, or First Timothy 6:4. He is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, wherewith come envy, strife, railings, evil sermonings. And this is what this. Let's get what that word is.
Surmisings.
Let's see. It says evil. It says to make a guess or conjecture, an idea or opinion.
Conjecture.
Based on insufficiently conclusive evidence. No evidence up to the shit he said.
This is the nice thing that he doesn't understand, is that this is the opposite of actually what I've taught, is that if it was just in Revelation and it didn't have any that pattern elsewhere in the Bible, it would be a bit more of just a guess, or a conjecture or surmising. But it's not. That template, that sequence is everywhere in the Bible. God does things in patterns, like the two witnesses, for example, Moses and Elijah, appears at the transfiguration. And like, not just that, but like that pattern of like two witnesses, destruction, and then during that time as well, during the Great Tribulation, the gospel is being preached. That's another very, very important point, is that one of our major differences is they think that this clown show going on out here is the gospel being preached. With anybody with like literally one functioning brain cell would know that that's not the gospel. First of all, they're ball earthers. They're all blaspheming the Holy Spirit, a lot of them. The list goes on. And so during that 1260 days, angels will be telling people to worship God, worship the creator, not the creation. And so that pattern exists even in other books. They talk about the flying scroll and all that kind of stuff. So my sequence is the furthest thing from a guess or a conjecture. The only thing it hinges upon is the Bible being true, in my opinion, at this point. And then we have to be in the end times.
No evidence that 9/11 is one of the woes. Okay.
What's your evidence that it is? You read Revelation 9 and tell me where you're getting World War I in that. Are you stupid? Like, where do you get that in World War I? They're all actors. You don't know this because like you're just a GMO fed zombie, a spinning ball earther. You're living on a ball that's hurtling, wobbling and hurling at thousands of miles an hour. You don't realize that all the generations leading up to this time were all just actors. Like, where God just literally put a bunch of actors on there, Copernicus and Sir Isaac Newton, all these other Einstein, all these other clowns. They're just talking gibberish, like postulating whether God exists, maybe. All this stuff, it was like foundation for atheism, and ball earth was one of the most important things that it needed. And so now we're just undoing all that. you know, and all that kind of stuff. So why would that be in the Bible? God go in detail about all the different wars that these actors are having and all that kind of stuff. The reason 9/11 is explicitly in the Bible in Revelation 9/11 is because that was a huge wake-up call for all of us that something else is going on. You know, something's up, literally.
Okay, no evidence that heathen can make it. No evidence that the Lord is.
No evidence that heathen can make it. You're the people that think the heathen can make it. This is why this guy's brain dead. Did I say anything about the heathen making it in my breakdowns? It's all of God's right hand side. And so I don't know what this person's on. He needs the quote heathen in the kingdom so that he can beat them up. So you can see what's going on with this person, and just so emotional and mentally gone that he doesn't even know his own position. It's horrible.
Dealing with him. Doesn't even know the Lord's name. All right. So it's all good, man. Like I say,
use that name then to bring out your sequence and the Revelation 11 breakdown. And why don't you, if you're unsure about the shape of the earth because you said you don't know, why don't you use that name and find out? And you tell us by tomorrow. How long does it take? What's the delay when you email those gods? And with that name, what's the delay for information? Because I guess you use that to get all this other information. So how come Tahar is taking him 30-some years to figure that out if he hasn't already? So what's up with that? So what's the name giving you? The name's giving you the most blasphemous teaching of the non-virgin birth. So you're way behind, dude. Like you're behind the 501c3 Christian church because a lot of them are not stupid enough to believe that.
it is what it is, man. Like, it is what it is. So we keep it pushing then, man. All right? We keep it pushing.
Yeah, keep doing it, man. GMS push on, right? Rakah, who's a Mason, just a clown, admitted, just involved in like a Masonic gang, trafficking drugs and all that kind of stuff. Push on, man. Do it.
This guy's getting slaughtered with the scriptures. The end time teachers is ripping his ass a new one, man. With the no slavery in the kingdom. This guy doesn't have any understanding.
Are you sure? Check with End Times if he agrees with that.
Standing up the scriptures, man. All right. Hey, shalom.
All right, man. If you got the juice or the oil or whatever, I'll give credit where credit is due. But we have to wait and see. Again, not for very long. I suspect the two witnesses will be on the scene shortly. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.